Good morning to you, Andrea, in a very, what's your climate in Vancouver?
It is beautiful, gorgeous, and sunny today. Good morning.
A good morning. And listen, thank you so much for getting up so early to record this episode with me. I really appreciate it. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I've got for you today a wonderful human being, an amazing individual, a mom, a transition coach, and now a fledgling author, ladies and gentlemen, in our midst with the amazing chapter Andrea has written for Rattled Awake, Volume 10, which is available on Amazon and a booksellers near you. If you've not already read it, go out and read it today because it's absolutely brilliant. Um, Andrea, thanks for coming on my show today, and thanks for coming on Wellbeing with Seamus. How you doing?
I'm doing amazing. Thank you so much for having me on here. It truly is actually my pleasure. It really
Great. And,
is.
and
Yeah.
listen, I didn't realize I got you up so early this morning, right? It's 7 a.m. Vancouver time. I mean, that's a mission, right? On a Friday, that's just a mission. So listen, I'm sending you hugs and I'm
Oh,
sending you
thank you.
grateful thanks. Andrea, I know a little bit about you. And we've connected over LinkedIn over many months now.
Yeah.
We're part of a synergistic, collaborative team that is trying to raise levels of people's awareness to help them and support them identify their mission and vision in life and support them to succeed in that mission and
Yeah.
vision once they identify it. But for those who don't know you, Andrea, tell the good folks in podcast land who you are.
Who I am. Gosh, that's a big question.
Yeah.
My journey has been feels like a long one. It's many years ago when I remember as a kid just wondering and not understanding this world and going,
Mm.
I don't get this world. And I've always realized something deep inside of me that there was a different world out there that we weren't living yet. We didn't access yet for some reason.
Yeah.
I didn't understand the fighting and the struggle.
Mm.
So I've just become this woman on a mission. First of all, to convert my own life to bring joy, happiness, and fulfillment. And then when I reach a certain level of that, I'm like, I think there's more to this.
Yeah.
I think I'm actually supposed to start. Oh, I have goosebumps as I say that. I'm supposed to be helping others do the same.
Yeah.
So it's been this journey of just healing and my own self and now going, okay, it's go time. It's actually time for the rest of the world to start that process too. So it's just been a wonderful whirlwind journey, not how I expected life to be, not how I expected any of my, me to be as a person, but this is just the way it's unfolded.
Yeah. So um you've written a beautiful chapter in Rattle Awake, volume 10, which I've read. You might be surprised to hear that I've read it not only once, not only twice, but three times, because
Wow.
your messages are so powerful in it. There is such a depth in your writing, which is absolutely incredible. Um, and I suppose I see from your story that this whole mission for you kickstarted in the worst possible way, really, that you were faced with a dilemma back in, I think was it 2020, 2021, something like that, when you
Well,
were working?
that was the part where I left full-time work. So, I
Yeah.
mean, my journey really started in 2004, the very
Right.
beginning of
Okay.
where life really, a perfect storm, as I kind of briefly explained in that chapter.
You did.
But yeah, I knew I wanted to change careers because I became a CPA for reasons that were no longer valid.
Mm.
Like I picked it because I was supposed to do it. I was following all the rules. And then there was a moment, yes, in 2021 where I reached a crossroads. There was a big decision point. Do
Mm.
I allow myself to be fired? Or do I do something that went against my own personal values and what I believe for myself?
Yeah.
So it was a huge moment, but it was those moments where I knew it was happening for me and not to me.
Yeah. Yeah. And you've got two beautiful teenage daughters, and it must have been, put you in an horrendous position where you had to choose really. But at the same time, it was a decision you felt you've made quite a long time ago, and it was a slowly coming together of a series of smaller decisions you've made along the way, which got you to 2021. But you're quite clear in the book. You know, the first 2 weeks of that was horrendous, right?
Well, exactly. So, I mean, what essentially did happen was, yeah, I was at that decision point. And as I mentioned in the chapter, it really didn't feel like a decision
Yeah,
because I knew the price of not honoring yourself.
yeah,
I had lived the first 33 years not honoring myself. And I got to the point when I was 33 years old where I was really unhappy. I'm 52 now. And so I began to really understand what happens, the different life you have when you listen to yourself, you honor yourself, and the path that you don't. And the two are so vastly different. And I don't think most people really realize it. I know I didn't until you do start honoring yourself and you realize that you pay a huge price when you ignore what you want, you ignore your intuition, you ignore all the nudges, you ignore everything inside of you and either people please or follow rules that you just don't personally subscribe to or believe in. There's a huge price we pay, and I don't believe most of us realize it
yeah.
until we do. And then it's a shock. It's like, wow, life is so different when you actually listen to yourself.
Yeah, and you're quite again, you're quite specific in the book that our soul is always speaking to us, right? Our soul
Yeah.
is always speaking to us, and sometimes it just whispers in the wind, and sometimes it's a little stronger, and sometimes it becomes a little stronger, until eventually, if we continue to ignore the whispers, we realize suddenly that we're on the Titanic and we can't steer the ship away from the iceberg, right?
Well, that's what happened to me. I knew I wasn't where I wanted to be. Like I knew being a CPA wasn't right it. There were a number of times where I thought I could have been fired in the past because I always stand up for myself,
Yeah,
put up clear boundaries. I knew I was in the wrong place doing the wrong thing, but I was scared. Like as you said, I mean, I still am as like a single parent. How am I going to leave corporate and start my own thing all by myself? So I was really scared, but I
yeah,
knew it. And that's what happened. And I knew it at the time. It's like, Andrea, you got all the nudges. There were, you knew corporate wasn't for you. You knew CPA wasn't being, for you. So when it happened, it was like, okay, this is I'm being booted out of the nest. It's
yeah,
go time. Like it's
yeah.
literally
You gotta fly.
because
You gotta
yeah, you've got
fly.
to fly. That's what the universe does. It goes,
Yeah,
you're ready. You're more than ready. You've got to make the move.
yeah,
And it makes it so uncomfortable, right?
yeah.
That we actually do make the change.
And I love that in the book where it says that to other people and to your previous employer, you may have not mattered to them, and essentially, reading between the lines, it was a pretty cut and dry decision. Either you
Yeah,
went this
it
way
was.
or you went that way, right? So you didn't matter. But, what you do say though, following that sentence, is that the most important thing at that moment of time was you matter to yourself.
Yeah.
You listen to yourself.
Yeah. Because if we don't listen to ourselves, what the heck are we doing on this earth?
Yeah,
What are we doing if we don't actually listen to ourselves? We are saying we don't matter. One of the things I have said to people before is imagine if we were in a relationship with somebody that we told them what we wanted or we told them how we felt and they continually ignored it. We probably wouldn't be in a relationship with them anymore.
no,
Yet isn't that what we do with ourselves?
yeah, yeah.
Time and time again. And then we wonder why we can't sleep at night or we wonder why we have anxiety.
So is it, Andrea, that you feel that we're in some sense disconnected from ourselves, our true
100%.
selves? Yeah,
Yeah, because we've been taught to really look outside ourselves for answers.
yeah,
That's not where all the answers are. Yes, there's lots of information that can support you. I always say, like, you listen to your soul, you listen to your heart for where you want to go, and then you can look outside to how to get there, right?
yeah,
The resources and all those things. But don't look outside for the answers on what you want for your life. they aren't out there.
Yeah. And I love it again what you say in the chapter is that we were traditionally all brought up with, we lived for career. We were born, we grew up, we got educated, you know, and we got into a career that was either chosen for us or we chose ourselves because that was the thing we did. And the
Yeah,
thing that we left out from that whole process is maybe deciding on the life that we wanted.
yeah,
And
we
I
do it
love what you
backwards.
and I love what you say is you do it in reverse.
Yeah,
When you get it,
yes,
you choose the life you want and you build a career around that your life choices.
exactly. We do it so backwards. Like when I became a CPA, I didn't think about I would be in corporate. I would be working Monday to Friday. I would be in a desk all day. I didn't think about all those things. I didn't None of that dawned on me. It was this
Yeah.
is what I'm supposed to do. And the way I came about creating a life and then choosing a career that supported it, it just happened. Like I literally did a vision board, as I mentioned in the chapter. I
Yeah.
created a vision board, and actually one of the things on that vision board is being a book author. And I had no idea what I was going to write
Heck.
books about because, right, like it's crazy. I had all these things on this vision board, what I wanted my lifestyle to be, how I wanted to live, the
Mhm.
people I wanted to connect with, all those kinds of things. I'm like, this is how I want my life to be. But I had no idea what career would support that or what would be in alignment with that.
Mhm.
But sure enough, I stuck with what I wanted. I continued that path and it showed up because it always does.
Yeah.
You've got to have faith, right? That's the piece that a lot of people are missing, that faith and trust when you don't see progress yet. That's one of the hardest things to do in life.
Yeah. Yeah. And both you and I work for ourselves, right? We've got our own businesses and we're both founders. And one of the things I think that sustain us as founders is that the fundamental principle is faith because
Yeah.
you have to have faith in your product, you have to have faith in your service, you have to have faith in your message, and you have to have faith that the people who will hear your message will hear it and respond in kind and then require services. And when it doesn't happen as quickly as you want, we're tested, right? We are
Oh, yeah.
tested, right? We are required to call upon our reserves of faith to get us through those moments and periods where have I done right? Have I done wrong? Yeah, will they like it? Will they not like it? Is it too big? Is it too small? You know what I'm talking about, right?
Oh, yeah, that's why I'm laughing.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking. Yeah,
There's a radical self-trust.
yeah, 100%.
Like there's a radical self-trust required, but isn't that the like, although it can be challenging at times, I think it's one of the most beautiful things too.
It's
This is
amazing.
what I love about being self-employed
Yeah,
because there are hard moments. But what I love about it is, I mean, there's many things I love about it, but it leads you back to you.
yeah,
That to me is it. This is one of the things I have discovered about being in the wrong career. Being in the wrong career will lead you away from you
yeah,
because it forces you to be someone you're not, to fit in. You're completely distorting yourself to mold and melt into something that's not you.
yeah,
Being self-employed when you don't have that sort of corporate structure around you, actually being you is when you do the best. And I think that's like the coolest thing. It's actually a healing process that actually, um, if you stay in alignment, you're actually blossoming into the full potential of who you are. And I'm not sure if there's any greater journey. I mean, challenging as all heck sometimes, of course, but anything in life doesn't come to you handed on a silver platter.
no, you got to
It's
work for it,
worth
right?
it. You,
Yeah,
you got to work for it. Like this is the thing that people always say, well, entrepreneurship is hard. Yes, it is. But you know what's also hard? Dumbing yourself down to fit in somewhere you don't.
and
Like that's
staying,
hard.
yeah, and staying stuck. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Like it's all hard. We've just got to choose our hard.
yeah,
But I think that's the great thing about entrepreneurship is although it's hard, I always say if you're on alignment, it's hard, but you're actually progressing, you're moving forward. Whereas if you're, we talked about you said being stuck. It's hard, but you're not getting anywhere either.
Yeah,
You're staying. You're
yeah,
staying.
you're in the mud, right? You're in the mud.
Yeah.
You know,
So you're not
you're
actually
move
getting anywhere.
yeah, you're moving, but you're in the mud.
Yeah, you're moving in the mud. It's exactly what it is. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Uh, and I like what you say in the book. It says, and I've underlined it and circled it because you know, I'm going to create as my own kind of one of my personal mission statements. I'm going to have T-shirts with this on it, right? I'm telling you now, Andrea. And it's it's sometimes hard for us to see at the time, right? But you say it's only often in the rear view can you see life's perfection. It's only after the effect can you see how it was all just kind of meant to be.
Yeah. I think it's one of the toughest things. It's you just that trust, that self-trust that if I follow and listen, because our human mind tries to plan and make sense of anything. But the problem with the human mind is the human mind doesn't have access to anything. The only thing the human mind has access to is the past.
Yeah,
That's all it has.
yeah,
Then we try to use our brains to make all our decisions, but like all you're doing is then if you use your brain to make all your decisions in your mind, all you're actually doing is repeating the past because that's the only thing in your mind is the past.
yeah,
And
yeah,
so we try to make sense of it. And we're like, well, if the path doesn't make sense right now, I'm on the wrong path. Well, no, actually, that's not true at all.
yeah,
If the path you're now not doesn't make sense, you're listening to something other than your past. You're actually moving forward.
yeah. Does it does it does it require a shift of your soul then? Does it
I
require
think
you getting I'm gonna put it another way. Does it require you getting in touch with who you really are?
yes, it requires shutting down your brain, which is one of the hardest things for most people.
Yeah.
Because your logical mind is going to try to make sense of things all the time. And for so many people, if I can't make sense of it, if I can't see A, B, C, D, E, F, I'm not doing it.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
That's one of the hardest things to do to shut down your mind.
Yeah.
What I've learned, the best way to do it is not so much shut down your mind because it's hard to stop something, right? Like, how do you actually eliminate something? It's better to actually start doing something else. And then the thing you want to stop just kind of starts to fade away a little bit, right? So just starting to listen to myself.
Yeah.
So it's having those moments of silence. Like, and I always do this, I put my hand on my heart because when I put my hand on my heart, it actually disconnects me from my brain more
Right.
because the
Because
focus is, yeah, your hands on your heart, you're actually starting to like focus somewhere else in your body
yeah.
and ask myself questions like, what do I want? And the answer doesn't always come right away. In fact, it often doesn't come right away.
No, no. Yeah, the universe is a real bugger sometimes. It'll accept the question, but it will play about with the answer a little bit, maybe.
Yeah, and the answer doesn't come in this nice little prepackaged format of a, A to Z plan. It
Yeah,
doesn't come that way. I think people are looking for that. It's like, no, it's like I said in the book, it's the soft nudges.
yeah,
It's telling us all the time. If we ask questions, it'll tell us exactly what we're supposed to be doing.
yeah, yeah,
But we're not in touch enough with ourselves to know this is what, this is what I say yes to. So we get a nudge and we start using our logical brain to second guess it,
mm,
and then we don't follow through.
yeah, yeah.
What if we just said yes?
We
Yeah.
ignore it. Yeah, we ignore it. We ignore
Yeah.
that little nudge. Yeah.
Yeah, like this book, the way they came about. Um, so actually a client of mine connected me with the publisher of this book.
Mm.
And it happened all within like I literally had a call with her. I said yes and committed on the call. On the
Wow.
call, I said, I'm doing this. And I didn't even know I was doing a chapter 6 days before I wrote it.
Wow.
And so this is the thing when you start to know yourself and understand who you are, when decisions come up and the nudges in the universe come up and go, do this, you don't hesitate. You're like, I'm like, I've always wanted to be an author. Why wouldn't I do this? Yes, let's do it. Let's go.
Yeah. And you are, and you're a great author.
Thank you.
Your
Thank you.
your story is powerful, Andrea. It's
Thank you so
powerful.
much. Thank you.
You know, and I really feel intuitively, I feel this is only the beginning for you. I think you've got more stories to tell, right?
Yes, I do. Yes, and you're correct. And it actually was a beautiful segue into
Yeah,
writing.
yeah,
Like I went, this was actually because it was just I wrote it, it's published, it's out there, it's good. Like it's a great sort of accomplishment to boost my own confidence.
yeah,
Great first step. It was a beautiful opportunity, but I had to know myself to be able to say yes in that moment. I'm doing it.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and intuitively, it felt right for you. In your soul, it felt right for you in that
Yeah.
moment. So much so that you were able to say yes on the call,
Yeah.
which is incredible, which is
Yeah.
absolutely incredible. Um, you say in your book, and I'm going to read it if you don't mind. I'm going to read your words
Yeah.
back to you,
Yeah.
right?
Go
Because
ahead. Absolutely.
they're beautiful words, and I've read them, as you can appreciate, many times. But you see, I was accustomed to listening to myself. I was used to honoring my soul. I was used to carving my own path. In doing so, I developed a deep sense of inner trust that nobody can break. The small choices you make every day matter. That's pretty powerful, Andrea.
Thank you.
That's pretty
I actually get
powerful.
emotional hearing that because that is my journey. Like that's my journey.
Yeah. It's powerful. I was like, I've done a review for the entire book, and I have to say, I'm glad I was sitting down when I read it, because if I wasn't sitting down, it would have knocked me off my feet,
Mm.
literally, with the power of the words, uh, from you as an author, but from all the other, authors who've added their stories to this book. It really is a really unique piece of work.
Mm. Yeah, it really is. I agree. And that's just the brilliance of the editor and publisher, Lonnie Ray, who really puts her heart into it. Yeah.
100%. I'm actually on a
Mm.
call with Lonnie Ray this afternoon
Mm.
after we finish. I feel as if the universe is nudging me in the direction of committing a chapter to print. Um,
Nice.
yeah, I feel as if I feel it really is, intuitively. I feel
Mm.
that's where I am now. Um, I love what you say. I love what you say, because when you choose yourself, right? When you stand up for you, when you listen to you, when you say to yourself, you matter, right? And align your mission and vision and purpose to the life that you want, and mold a career around it. You say that I've discovered that when I choose myself fully and completely and my own divine path, everything always, sometimes, all the time falls into place. In fact, it just doesn't work out. It actually sometimes works out better than when you first anticipated it, right? And I suppose, has that been your experience, Andrea, as you've started out this unique road, this divine path, as you call it yourself?
It turns out in ways you can't imagine. I think
Mm,
that's the fun of it. Because
mm,
like I said to you, we have this, oh, it's going to go this way.
yeah,
We because we're told as humans, you got to plan and project, especially when it comes to your career.
yeah,
Doesn't it? I mean, you've got to know the next 5 years and next 10 years. And if you can't, it's almost like you're irresponsible. If
yeah,
you don't know where you're going in 10 years, the problem with that is though, when we do that, we decide that path and we're so really stuck on it is we miss all the little things that are meant to come on our path,
yeah,
all the little fun experiences because we're so fixated on getting from A to B. And that's what most people have done, especially in their careers.
yeah.
They've gone, okay, so in 10 years, I need to be in management. 20 years, I need to be CEO, or whatever it looks like. And they don't entertain other ideas
Mm,
that actually could bring them more joy and more fulfillment.
yeah,
And that's what we do. We get stuck on this one path, thinking it's the right path and not being open till we get to a point where, like, for so many people that I work with, they've gotten to a point where they're like, how did I even get here? Like I never even really assessed whether I wanted this path,
yeah. Wow.
right? Like have I ever actually checked in with myself to see, does this feel good? because we've been taught also it's always the end result, right?
Yeah.
And that is so messed up. Like, I'm just gonna say it bluntly like that. There's no
See
articulation.
it, see it.
Well, it's total BS. Why are
Yeah.
we not caring about the journey?
Yeah.
What and I know it sounds kind of it can sound really woo-woo, love the journey, but I'm sorry, like, the moments when you accomplish something are far and few between. When you actually have a moment, it can happen in a day or 2 days. Even writing this book, I'm really proud that I did it. I am really, really proud. But what I'm more proud of is the woman that I became to get to the point where I could commit like this in a second to
Yeah.
doing it,
Yeah.
and I in a weekend could write the chapter and pour my heart into it. That's what I'm proud of.
Yeah.
The moment it's published, it's beautiful, it's wonderful, and I love it. I'm proud of myself, but it's all the stuff I had to do leading up to that and the woman I became. But that's the part we miss out on.
Yeah.
We miss out on that. We pick a goal and we stick to it so firm and so hard. And I'm an achievement-based person, so I love achievement. But if you're not enjoying it along the way, we really have to start questioning, is it really worth it? Is
Yeah.
it really worth it? I don't think it is. I mean, everyone's on their own journey. They get to decide, but in my experience, I went to university. I got my CPA designation. Which is a certified professional accountant. Um, I did all the things. I climbed the corporate ladder.
Mm.
Did all those things.
Mm.
They're lovely. But do they keep me warm at night? Do they you know what I mean? Do they make me feel good? Like when my head hits the pillow, that's always kind of one of my biggest things. What happens when my head hits the pillow?
Mm.
Am I like, and my brain going crazy, analyzing and stressing? Or am I like, it's time to go to sleep now?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? That's
Yeah.
what matters. That's what matters to me, anyways.
Yeah. Um, and it's funny because I've circled that as well. And you say to yourself, I can't do this journey alone. But at a deeper level, I've also learned that we're not supposed to do it alone, right? It was never meant to be that way. It's
No.
all so damn boring doing it alone. If you're not laughing, playing, and having fun along the journey, what's the point?
What is the point?
Yeah, I love that. I absolutely love that. I absolutely love that. And you're so right. You're absolutely so right. And you and me both have been in careers in the past where we weren't our best selves, right?
Oh, definitely. And it's so interesting. It's like, I almost feel like if you're having too much fun in some of the corporate worlds, it's you're not seen as professional.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Wow.
Just
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
Because I've got a silly sense of humor. I'm a goofball. Like I totally am, right? I'm also very dedicated and conscientious though.
Yeah.
Like we can be all those things.
We can be.
Yeah, like why can't I have fun? And in fact, the more fun I have, the more productive I am. And that's one of the biggest pieces that I believe missing in the work culture life.
You're absolutely right.
We
100%
do
agree with
more,
you,
yeah.
Anthony.
We do more when we're having fun.
And can be more when we're having fun and we can have a laugh at the same
Yeah,
time as being professional and being authentic and being honest with one another, right?
yeah, exactly. Exactly. And it's too much of our life not to have fun. It's
No,
too many hours, way too many hours.
absolutely. I absolutely get that. Um, in terms of in terms of the clients that you work with, you've mentioned, some of the work that you do already, but do you work with clients at various stages in their life, or have they come to a transitionary phase in their life? Have they suddenly woken up to who they really want to be, or are they just confused? Where do you find people at in terms of your own work, Andrea?
It's generally people who have reached the end of the rope in terms of they know they just can't, it's kind of like they just kind of keep hitting a wall. They're trying to move forward, they're trying to move forward, and they're just not getting it. They maybe tried different things. They have definitely reached a certain level of success. Like the people I work with tend to be high achievers,
Yeah.
whether they see themselves as that, and often they actually don't. Um, but when I talk to them, they are. um,
Yeah.
when I hear the long list of things they've done, it's like, wow, like, do you hear what you've done? Like, seriously, it's amazing. It's
Yeah.
phenomenal.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, they just realize this isn't it. This isn't it. I'm not happy.
Yeah.
And I can see the path. That's the thing. If you look ahead and the path you're on in 10 years doesn't make you excited, there's the chances are you've got to make a shift in your path, right?
Yeah.
So it's different ages. For the most part, most of my clients have been in their 40s and 50s by
Okay.
far, but I have had clients in my 30s as
Wow.
well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And actually they often move a little bit faster because they're a little bit less, further along in their career. And actually that can be a little bit easier sometimes. But I mean, it's any age.
Yeah.
This is just it. Like when you're 50, you've still got a lot of life left in you,
Thanks.
you know? Well, I mean, I'm 52. I mean, I did this starting in my I was taking a coaching program. I started it 7 years ago next month. So I was what, 45? It
Wow.
was a year-long commitment of a coaching program.
Wow.
So I mean, that's late in life to be going back to school, right?
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter.
Wow. Wow. Um, what would you say to somebody who's stuck? How would you say what would you say to somebody who's stuck in the mud? He's
I
moving,
was
but it's just stuck in
Yeah,
the mud.
I would say first of all, honor the fact that you're scared, because I think we need to actually honor that.
Yeah.
Like, honor the fact that it's as scary AF, we'll just say that. It is scary. Honor that.
Yeah.
Validate that in you. But honestly, just look at your life and go, is this how I want to live my life? If I stayed on this path, and then start with little steps. It doesn't have to be a big leap tomorrow. You've got to start, like I said in the book, you've got to start taking little tiny steps, because people think they need to know the whole path. You don't.
No, you don't.
I didn't know my whole path at all. I had no idea, because we get caught in the how.
Yeah.
How am I going to make this happen? You kind of have to suspend the how if you can. And it's not easy. That is one of the biggest challenges we as humans have, is suspending the how. Start taking small steps and think about what you want. Again, not how you're going to get there. Because I had no idea. In 2011, as I mentioned in the chapter, I had a photo of a woman with a laptop on the beach. And
Mm.
I had zero idea of how I was going to get there.
Yeah.
No clue. But it was just one step, one foot in front of the other. That's really the journey. It's just one foot. And we've heard that from so many people in the past. I think, was it Martin Luther King Jr.? It's one of my favorite quotes, and I don't even want to say it here, but it's like we think we need to know the whole staircase. We just need to know the next step.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Um, what's important to you, Andrea Horvath? You mentioned
Ooh,
in
that's a deep question.
I know. You mentioned in your book, every month I'm on this path. Every day I'm on this path, I become clearer and clearer on what is most important to me. What's most important to you right now?
Wow, that's a big question.
I know.
For me, right now, honestly, joy.
Yeah.
Joy, being happy.
Mm.
It sounds so simple, but all the things that I do lead me back to, I want to feel joyful, excited, engaged in life. Because when we do that, like, we spread that. It spreads.
Yeah.
I believe I've always had a vision of the world just being happier, just being happier. Just
Mm.
people just loving on each other. And so I feel like for me, the more joyful I can be, the more I enjoy my life, everyone around me wins, not just me. So I think that really is, and it sounds so simple, but honestly, it's the truth.
Bring the joy, Andrea. Bring the joy.
Yeah.
Bring it.
Yeah.
Absolutely, the world needs it. The
It
world needs
does.
it more than ever now.
Yeah.
You know, we're so polarized as communities and as global players, and and it's either this way, it's this way, it's this way, or it's this way, it's this way, or it's this way. Actually, it doesn't have to be.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly. And it's complicated. We've complicated things.
yeah,
It's like, what if we all just listened to ourselves, followed our own path? Because as I mentioned there, when you do that and you have joy, it spreads. I mean, I know I was raised and definitely was told when I was growing up, like doing that is selfish. It's actually not. Because when you choose yourself and you're so full, it spreads.
yeah,
And
yeah.
this is the part we're missing. If you actually, like, it's not selfish. I think that belief, and I believe that's actually really instilled in our society, and that can really hold us back because I'm being selfish if I choose me. It's not if you are in alignment with your soul. If you're choosing it from your ego, well, of course, right?
Yeah,
There's a
yeah,
big difference, but there's a big difference between choosing yourself on a soul basis versus choosing yourself on an ego basis.
and is that there in the soulful shift?
Yes, I would 100%. Well, in that sense, it is. Yes, exactly. Because there is a huge difference. Are your decisions being based from your ego or your soul?
Yeah,
Because if they're from your soul, everyone benefits. If it's from your ego, you're likely creating win loses. Uh, Choosing yourself from your soul is a win win. Win win win, actually.
yeah. Win, 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 and
Yeah,
some.
yeah,
Every
exactly.
Yeah, because you certainly attract into your life, and you begin to pull into your life those things that had eluded you for so long.
Exactly.
Certainly materialize in your vision, right?
They literally pop. They can literally pop into it's a crazy how that happens. It's literally can pop into your inbox. You get a phone call, you get a message, you get a somebody, hey, I think you should do this, or hey, have you met this person? All of a sudden, the path just unfolds. But you couldn't have planned it.
No,
There's no way you could have planned it.
no, and
It's so fun.
it's about enjoying the journey, isn't it? It's about
Yeah,
really enjoying the journey. It's about, it's like that kid, are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet?
yeah.
And enjoying every step of it, and looking at the scenery, and stopping to smell the flowers, and getting some ice cream along the way, and being goofy along the way, while at the same time as, working in total alignment with your mission and vision and soul purpose.
It is, and it's so fun when somebody like literally will drop into my DMs or whatever it looks like in life, like or I walk out on the street and I run into somebody. It's like that is the coolest thing ever. Like when just like that synchronicity just lands in your lap.
Well, look at the relationship we have, right? Look at the
Yeah.
friendship we have, right? Year and a half ago,
Yep.
we
Across the
did.
world, very different paths, very different
Yeah,
journeys. It doesn't matter.
it
It
doesn't
doesn't
matter.
matter. No,
Yeah.
no. Like you stop to question everything and trying to make sense of it. There's no making sense of it. Why?
No,
Why do we
don't.
do that? Why do we have to understand everything?
Yeah, we don't. We don't need to.
No, we don't. We try to make sense of it so we can feel safe. But that's where that self-trust comes in, right? The quest for feeling safe is a real thing in our world, right? It really is. And that's a
Mm,
legitimate thing because we've got a lot going on around us, except what we're a lot of us are trying to do is waiting for the outside world to make us feel safe.
yeah,
It's it's never the
not
way it
gonna
goes,
happen.
right?
No, it's not
No,
gonna
it's
happen.
never ever going to happen. The only way we change the outside world is we actually create the safety from within us. And if all of us are feeling safe and self-trusting and all those things, that's when the actually outside world changes.
Yeah.
But we don't need to understand everything. We just need to follow our intuition. And we be smart too. Like honestly, we'd be smart. I mean, like like when we talked about me allowing myself to be fired. So, full disclaimer here for anybody listening to this. I also knew I was going to leave corporate. So I did have some money saved up. It's not like I was like I had a mortgage to pay and no way to pay it the next month.
Yeah.
Right. So I
Y-
mean, we have to listen to ourselves and take steps. So if somebody's listening to this and you've been getting the nudge that you need to change your job, start taking the real physical world steps. Cut your expenses. Like where can you cut back in your life? Where can you start saving? Where can you start doing things? Maybe you've got things, to sell in your house. Like we've got to start getting creative, right? There's lots of ways we can make changes if we feel like we can't. There's so many ways we can be creative. I've sold things.
Yeah, because we've all got too much stuff, right? We've all got too much
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, like you've got to be willing to let go of some things too. And the interesting thing is what I discovered in my coaching business is that when we're not happy in our careers, this is so fascinating, is we often compensate by buying a lot of stuff
Yeah,
to make ourselves feel better. And the reason I've come to the lines I've put in my head is because we've had to suffer to make this money.
yeah,
So I'm going to buy stuff to make myself better to compensate for the fact that I've had to suffer to make this money.
yeah. You're right.
I see this. Yeah.
You're right. When I was a minister, I had 6 different top of the range CD players in my room.
Yeah.
I
It's
only
such a,
needed
yeah.
I only needed 1, but I'm the other 5.
Right, it makes no sense, right? But it's
Makes
because
no sense.
we're trying to compensate because we've had like there's I mean, I could go on about money. There's no mystery. I have a degree in economics. I was a certified accountant. I've done financial planning. Like I always because money is so related to our careers, right? But we've got some really distorted relationships with money. And that is one of them. If we hate what we're doing to make money, we don't have any respect for the money we've made.
No.
And so we blow it. We're not responsible with it because we've like there's just such a weird energy attached to it.
Yeah,
When you love what you do and you make money, it's a whole different ballgame. You value that money more. You're like, it's just a whole different experience.
yeah,
I remember the first time I made it, the very first time I did coaching was $175 I made. And I was making 6 figures at the time
yeah,
in corporate. That $175 meant the world to me.
absolutely.
Like it was I- like the money I made in corporate was just me paying the bills.
Yeah,
This money though, this meant something.
yeah, yeah. It was real, right? It was real.
Yeah. It was like it felt like a true exchange of really creating value for someone.
Yeah,
And I felt valuable in corporate. It's not like I didn't. I did well. I didn't feel it though. Like I didn't, I mean, I was given that feedback, but it didn't feel it really deep down. It was really making a difference. Like it was really where I wanted to be. But that $175 and you stop you change your habits around money. And it's not to say money is not beautiful and abundance isn't wonderful and money is evil or any of that stuff. It's just you feel differently about it, and that's the key.
yeah.
There's a different
You have a
experience.
different relationship with it, right?
Way different, and
Yeah,
it's actually a relationship that needs to be healed for most people, and I'm still healing it, and I think we're all still on this journey of healing our relationship with money
yeah,
and our relationship with time, to be honest with you.
yeah.
Both of those things need a lot of healing and attention right now because they've been really distorted. When you give up all your time doing something you don't like to make money, it's the whole thing just kinda
It's
gets you.
interconnected. It's just that vicious cycle, isn't it? It's
Yeah, and the whole
just
thing starts just yeah, starts to
yeah,
unravel. Yeah.
and it implodes on yourself, and you know, and I wouldn't wish an implosion on anybody, right? I wouldn't. And you and I have both been there in our respective life cycles to feel the full effects of an implosion. Um,
Yes.
but when it does happen, it does. Um, for me, and I can only speak for me, it allowed me to clear the shit, clear the rubbish away. Start from scratch. Look at the master plan that suited me. And there's been a number of occasions in my life when I've done that.
Yeah.
But I'm always prepared. I'm always prepared. I'm more prepared now. I suppose it's because I was a Boy Scout when I was a child, right? But I grew up with that belief of always being prepared. So you have some degree of preparedness because you really don't know what's over the hill. But at the same time, you're excited about going over the hill, or you should be excited about going over the hill and seeing what's there. But if you're not, it's about finding your purpose, right? It's about finding your soul, reconnecting with you and who you are as a human being, that you matter. And if your chapter tells me anything, it tells me that you matter. And when you begin to matter to yourself and listen to yourself and tune into yourself, magical, powerful things start to happen in your life.
Yeah, life is always mirroring back to you, right? Life is a mirror.
Absolutely. 100%.
Yeah. Yeah. And so
100%.
when you start saying I matter, life reflects it back to you.
You're right. And, and again, I can only say it for me, but I'm in a place now in terms of my own life when I've got a beautiful circle of friends around me, including you, Andrea, albeit we have never sat down and have a coffee together yet, but I think
Yes.
that day is
In
coming.
person.
That day is coming. That day is coming. But in the meantime, I have beautiful friends all around the world who I collaborate with, who I share with, who support me, who've got my back. I'm there for them and they're there for me. And it's just a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful life. And I presume it's the same for you now, right? You've got a similar set of experiences.
Yes, and it's a really excellent point you bring up. I actually did a post this morning on social media about how when you first start a journey, when you start listening to your soul, it actually can feel very lonely.
Mhm.
And then the longer you follow it, that's when all this happens. But you can't always see that. It can be actually quite lonely, like when you're in those moments, right? Where you're like,
Yeah.
okay, my life isn't what I thought it was, or something's shifting, or something I'm not where I wanted to be. It can actually feel very lonely. But then when you do start to listen, you do create all those relationships. And they're more, I don't want to like judge it and say like somebody's relationships aren't genuine, authentic. It's just a it's just different.
Yeah.
It's just a different feeling. It's like you said, we're across the world from each other. I don't need to understand. I don't need to know, we don't need to have everything in common. It's
No.
just a knowing,
Yeah.
it's an understanding. I mean, it's a vibrational frequency thing. It's a whole other story, but it's just a different kind of relationship.
I get it. I
Yeah,
get
like
it.
it's sometimes there is that lonely period in there though, because
Yeah.
I mean I know I had that where you just
Yeah.
feel like I am alone. Holy shit, I'm alone.
Yeah.
But it doesn't last. If
It
you
doesn't.
continue to follow in that path, it doesn't last. There are people out there,
Yeah.
right? Which is also why I'm doing what I'm doing. Because when I went through it, although I never had somebody who actually walked me step by step on how to do my career change, right? That's one thing I didn't have, which is why I do what I do. However, I did have a lot of teachers and mentors along the way.
Yeah.
And I don't know what I would have done without them. And I'm sure you've had similar. It's like,
Absolutely.
because you might not have people in your own world who get it. And you're just like, you're talking to people and they're like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Like I had that so many times. I'm like, I want more. And people are like, what do you want me more? Like, what's more? I'm like, this isn't this doesn't make sense to me. What we're
Yeah.
doing, like we're going to work and hating our jobs. I'm like, that's just what you do. I'm like, but does it have to be? And like I mean, I was probably laughed at, right? So knowing there's other people out there who get you, who get what you're talking about is huge, right? You just
Yeah.
got to kind of be open to find those people.
Yeah. And they see you.
Yeah, I've been there. That's
Yeah.
just it. Because like you and I've been there. We know the process. We know the journey. And you
100%.
can tell when somebody's walked that path before. You can tell,
Yeah.
you
No,
know.
my sister, you can tell. It's the unspoken word. As soon
Yeah.
as you connect at that level, that person's been where you are. That person's walked a similar journey. It's a similar path. And I think the more we can kind of come together
Mhm.
and connect and you've mentioned it, so I'll mention it at a higher vibrational level than what we're vibrating at, right? We make sense and we make change and create we create a different direction for people, don't we?
Yeah. Oh, I believe so. Yeah. I always say like it's a new way of living.
Yeah.
That's really what it is. It's a new way of being and living in this world. I mean, I help people change their careers, and one of the reasons why I do this is, well, first of all, because I was not happy in mine. But, the bigger part of, there's a lot of career coaches out there, right? And a lot of them are just, okay, so we're gonna, look at your resume and we're gonna go over here and we're gonna switch it up here. And you could, maybe take a course and pivot your career this way. That's not what I'm about. I mean, I help people make those changes, but it's at a broader level. And we
Yeah.
experience it differently. I don't
Yeah,
want you to go in struggling and hating. I don't want you to feel like you're just climbing a corporate ladder for some goal that you might retire at some point, hopefully, maybe. It's not what this is about. This is about changing how you experience life. We weren't taught this. Now we're teaching each other, right?
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Andrea Horvath, it's been an absolute honor and a privilege and a pleasure to sit down with you so early in the morning, your time, so late in the afternoon, my time, to to share our vision, to share our mutual work with one another. But I wish you well, Andrea Horvath. I
Thank you.
can't wait for the book to come out.
Oh, now you said that on in public. Yes, there will
Uh,
be a book at some point soon. Let's
all
yeah.
right, no pressure, but there's
I'm just
absolutely no
teasing you.
pressure.
I
But
am teasing you. It's
you know,
all
put
good. It's all good.
put me down for coffee, right?
Thank you so much. And thank you so much. I thoroughly enjoyed this conversation. It truly is a pleasure as always. Such a beautiful soul you are. Thank you so much.
Well, from one beautiful soul to an amazing woman and a powerful coach, to another. Um, I wish you well, Andrea, and
Thank you.
have the best of days.
You too. Thank you.